Welcome back to our channel, where we dive into the most chilling and spine-tingling stories from around the world. Today, we're sharing a terrifying true story of a family who encountered a malevolent spirit in an abandoned house. What started as a temporary move turned into a horrifying battle with a demon. Stay tuned, as this story will leave you questioning the safety of your own home. I have lived at the address of the house my husband and I rented from a real estate agency for over 5 years now. My name is Shannon, and I am the mother of 2 children. The house itself was very spacious, but rather cramped on the sides. The yard was used up to build the house, leaving only a small piece of land at the back. But that didn't matter. My husband, Etienne, is a mechanic and repairs all kinds of vehicles. One day, our neighbors across the street had car trouble. Etienne happened to be home and saw the neighbors trying to push the car back inside. He rushed to help them, and that's how we became friends with the neighbors. They were very kind people, I must admit. They had lived at that address for over 40 years, in the house they inherited from the man's parents. But within 2 years, they moved to the Netherlands to start a new life. We were a bit sad not to see them in the street anymore, or greet them when they were home. We kept in touch via email, and often exchanged our experiences. One day, we came home and saw a large sign hanging from the balcony of our neighbors across the street with the words, "For sale," painted on it. There was also a Dutch phone number on it. Years passed, but no one came to view the house. At one point, our landlord sent a letter stating they would renovate our house and that we needed to find another place temporarily. Our contract remained valid, but we didn't have to pay rent during the renovation. This worked out well for us, as we could use the money for something else. Living with my parents wasn't an option, because it was already full there. Living with my in-laws was also not an option, as they lived in the Netherlands. My brother-in-law lived there with his family and children in my husband's parental home. We had to find something for short-term stay without a contract. One day I came home, and my eye fell on the phone number on the for sale sign across the street. I contacted the people, explained the situation, and asked if it was possible to rent the house for a short time. It was no problem, and we didn't have to pay anything. A relative of the people who lived in Suriname would bring us the keys that same afternoon. What luck. It was worth making the call, I said to my husband. We didn't need to hire a moving truck. When the relative brought the keys, we went to view the house. It was a high, stilted house with a laundry room downstairs, 4 spacious bedrooms upstairs, and a kitchen and living room that adjoined the balcony. That same evening, my daughter and I cleaned the house thoroughly. By midnight, we had the house fully furnished with our belongings and handed over the keys to our rental property to the renovation team. They now had all the freedom and space to do their work undisturbed. We slept well the first night. The next morning, I woke the children to bathe when I heard my daughter screaming and laughing from the bathroom. I rushed to the bathroom and asked what was wrong. Someone threw toilet paper over the wall at me. "Must be Kevin, Mom," she said, laughing. But Kevin was in the living room, snoring away before I was to bathe him. I opened the toilet door and was shocked by the mess made with the toilet paper. The entire toilet floor was covered with toilet paper. "Olivia, give me that one roll that's in the bathroom," I called. She opened the door and handed me the soaking wet roll of toilet paper. My gut told me something was wrong. I cleaned up the rest of the toilet paper and placed 2 new rolls on the cistern. When Olivia was done bathing, I brought Kevin to the bath and began bathing him. As I was soaping him up, a roll of toilet paper landed on the wet bathroom floor. I was now 1000% sure something wasn't right. I then started talking to the house, emphasizing that we were not here to stay, but just wanted to use the house for a short time. "Don't disturb us, for we are not here to disturb you," I shouted. Kevin looked at me puzzled, but he was too young to understand. In the meantime, my husband woke up to take a bath. I immediately told him about the things the kids and I experienced. He was naturally shocked too. "We need to have the house blessed, even if we're staying here for a short time," he remarked. When we were done with the morning chores and everyone was ready to leave, I closed the door behind me. I looked through the glass panes of the door inside and saw someone peeking from behind the wall near the hallway to the bath and toilet. I stared and blinked to be sure I saw something there. "Etienne, there's something," and a loud bang came against the door. I was so shocked, I almost fell backward. My husband and children were already downstairs and walking to the car. I ran down the stairs and tried to stay calm. I didn't want the children to notice I was scared. We drove off, dropped the kids at school. My husband dropped me off at work and went to his mechanic shop. The day went on as usual. My husband picked me up from work with the kids, and on the way home, I bought some items like incense and a bottle of holy water to cleanse the house myself. I had to do something because I didn't want anything to happen to us. My husband dropped us off at home and went back to his workshop. When I got home, I didn't notice anything strange. Everything in the house was just as we had left it. I started burning the incense and sprinkling holy water around the house. Olivia was in her room, and Kevin was playing with his toys when I suddenly heard, "Stop it, Kevin," from Olivia's room. "You're being annoying," I heard Olivia shout. "Mom, Kevin is being a pest," she called out. I looked at Kevin and then rushed to Olivia's bedroom. I pushed the door open hard and saw a short, black figure at the foot of Olivia's bed. Olivia looked back when she noticed her bedroom door open, and then immediately looked at her feet. The thing had disappeared by then. "Mom, what's wrong? Why are you looking like that?" Olivia asked. Suddenly, I saw her eyes widen, and she started screaming as if she was possessed. Kevin stood next to me, and she just noticed him now and realized Kevin wasn't in her room. "Mom, who was it? Mom, who was it?" she screamed as she rushed towards me. We walked to the living room, and with a loud bang, her bedroom door slammed shut. I felt powerless and really did. I called the people and told them what we were experiencing in the house. They couldn't believe their ears. They kept saying they never experienced anything in the house and that this sounded very strange to them. "If you don't mind, we would like to have the house blessed," I said to the lady. She had no problem with it if we could feel safe in the house and do something about the intruder at any cost. We hung up and had to live with this troublesome entity for a while. Besides pulling toes, it often slammed doors right in front of you. It got worse by the day. Once, I opened the toilet door, and the entire floor was blue with the blue toilet blocks. Sometimes it also happened that there was a knock on the gate, and when we went to the balcony, was no one at the gate. My husband knew a pastor who often brought his car to him for service. He told him everything in detail. When asked if he would bless the house for us, the pastor agreed to do so. The day he visited the house, the first question he asked was, "How long was the house vacant?" "Almost 3 years," my husband said. "This is a wanderer looking for a place to stay." "This is a demon," he said seriously. "Bring me to the last bedroom. He operates from there." That was my daughter's room. The pastor then started praying and asked us to stand very close to him and support in prayer. We stood in the middle of my daughter's room when the pastor began invoking the blood of Jesus. A deep, loud growl came from one of the built-in closets in the room. Then it became deafeningly loud, as if thousands of feet were running across the floor, walls, and ceiling. "This is not yours. Leave in Jesus' name," were the words of the pastor that I still remember very well. Fearfully, we looked around. Suddenly, we saw black spots appearing all over the ceiling. They came and went away, and suddenly the door slammed shut by itself. The pastor ran to the door and pulled it open. "Do you want to lock us in, Satan? Do you think you have power here? I bind you in Jesus' name," the pastor shouted. Suddenly, we all heard a multi-voiced scream. The sound of the running and stomping feet disappeared, and at the same time, all the dogs in the neighborhood started barking. It was gone. "They are gone," the pastor said. The pastor prayed with us again and said we should continue praying. When he left, the house felt very light and free. For the time we stayed there, we no longer experienced any disturbances from any demon or entity. We are now back in our familiar environment, and the house across the street is still vacant. However, one evening, as I glanced out of curiosity at the old house from my balcony, I noticed a faint light flickering in one of the upstairs windows. It wasn't the kind of light from a bulb, but more like a dim, ghostly glow. My heart pounded as I watched the light grow brighter, forming into a shadowy figure that seemed to stare right back at me. Frozen in place, I couldn't look away. The figure moved closer to the window, and its features became clearer. A dark, twisted face with hollow eyes. I knew immediately it wasn't human. Panic surged through me as I stumbled back into my house, locking the doors and windows. That night, I could hardly sleep, haunted by the image of that sinister figure. We might have rid the house of its entity for now, but deep down, I knew this battle wasn't over. As long as the house remained empty, it would always be a beacon for the restless and the damned.